there. You're tuned into MEA Worldwide. I'm your host, Elena Jordan, and today I am sitting down with Anthony Alabi.
Hi, everybody.
You have seen him all over the place. You have been in just about all of my favorite TV shows.
Oh, good. I'm sleepy.
I mean, it makes sense because
Yeah.
you're busy.
Yeah,
Now
definitely.
you have a brand new show
I do.
too.
I
So
do.
tell us a little bit about Family Reunion.
Okay, Family Reunion, it's a multi-camera sitcom, and it basically is about the McKellan family, and I played professional football in Seattle, and we moved from Seattle to our hometown in Georgia, back into my mother and father's house. So, old school values, new school parents, when they collide, it's hilarious and devastating all at the same time.
Now, this is kind of the perfect role for you as well because you've been acting for
Yeah.
over a decade, but you also got your start in football.
I did, yeah, definitely. I spent 6 years in the
NFL.
NFL, right? So the character research for Moz wasn't super deep. I had to kind of just revisit some old game footage, and I was good to go. It was fun.
So how did that come about? Were you brought in to audition because you had that background, or was it a project that you had come across?
Yeah,
or?
funny enough, Raven's Home is kind of on Disney. I play Coach Spitz,
Yeah.
a recurring character on there, and it's funny. One of the head writers and producers of that show kind of got attached to Family Reunion, and they reached out and thought I'd be good for the part. I, of course, was like, this is not going to happen. I am not known enough, to kind of get a role like that. And through the audition process, and Netflix was gracious enough, and they loved what I did, and I was fortunate enough to get the part, and it's been a fantastic ride ever since.
Now, talking about Raven's Home as
Yeah.
well, and these kind of more family-oriented shows versus a different kind of family on Shameless.
Right. Well, that's kind of the same. No, I'm kidding. Yeah. It's a different. Shameless is I mean, there's no better word. They're dirty. They're just dirty people. Just shameless. But it was a lot of fun, and it's more of the stuff that I kind of loved getting back to, which is the dramatic, the gritty kind of dramas. So that was a lot of fun to kind of be on that show for a little while. It was a great experience, and the cast there is fantastic. I mean, they're really good at what they do.
Now, your character, too, on the show was so unique because it was almost, I think a lot of us were kind of like, yay, Liam gets an out, finally. But of course, in traditional
Right.
Shameless family
He was like,
fashion,
"No,
nobody
thanks.
gets out of the family.
I'll stay down here." I know, and it's funny because I remember in the makeup room, the makeup ladies for that were like, "Oh, finally, we get to not make someone dirty." It's like you actually get to be clean on the show. But yeah, MaVar was a different character. I think he kind of brought a lightness to kind of the episodes that I was in, and I think it was like an olive branch to Liam, but obviously he's a Gallagher, and that's what they do.
It also was great too because it was able to kind of shine a light as well on like race relations and everything in a way that didn't feel like it was hitting you over the head with it.
Yeah.
So why do you feel that it's important to have characters like MaVar, who is, kind of the light at the end of the tunnel for
Right.
someone who may be younger, who is kind of struggling to find their own identity in that situation?
Well, I think this is true in society as well, that there's a lot going on where a lot of kids don't know their history. I think they don't really understand where they came from, or even just the basic nuances of their culture. And I think this character was important because it was teaching a young black man that, listen, this is where you came from. This is who you are, and this is how society sees you. Now, what are you going to do about that? Are you going to go along with the stereotype, or are you going to buck stereotype and be a better person at the end of the day? And naturally, I think that's an important thing for kids to see. I don't know how many kids are watching Shameless, but it's an important thing for an important lesson for Liam to learn, and I think it's an important thing for Black people as a whole to see in this world of kind of like dirt and grime. There was this character that was a light, and he was a black guy. And I think and really talked about the truths of how society views us and how things work. And I think it was an important message. I think it was an important character.
Do you feel like your work on shows that are more family oriented, because kind of talking about how kids probably aren't
Right.
watching Shameless,
Probably not,
so
no.
probably not many kids are getting that lesson,
Kind
but
of
luckily a lot of
9-year-old
adults are,
Yes, yes.
and that is something that is global. But do you feel that your work on things that are more family oriented are in some ways more rewarding to you because they appeal to this wider audience and you're able to give that message? Or do you kind of feel like you approach all of your projects with an intrinsic value to each?
Yeah, I mean, I never try and judge any character that I play. I mean, I go into it as open as possible, and I think there's value in anything that you do, no matter whether it's a multicam family sitcom or this deep, dark kind of dramedy. No matter what, there's something that can be taken away from all of it. Granted, the family stuff is fun. You know, it's light and it's fun, and there's messages, and you know, it appeals to a wide audience, which I think is fantastic. But there's also something to be said for being in a drama that really has a very specific kind of genre to it. And I think when you are in those, it's a lot harder to kind of get that message across, but it's so much more rewarding because you go through all those steps to try and make that happen. And when it finally does, you're like, oh, great. So it works out.
Does your approach change going into these auditions for the way that you prepare for these different kind of genres?
Yeah, I mean, naturally, you know, any actor will tell you it's style, right? I mean, the Family Reunion is a complete 180 from Shameless, you know, and they have different styles. So I think, you know, if you're a professional in anything, you kind of study what you're walking into and you kind of go along with it. So if you're able to kind of go into a project and nobody notices the difference when you walk onto the screen, then I think we're doing okay. So it's very much like an offensive lineman in the NFL, right? If you come in and you didn't do anything, no one mentioned you, you're doing great. They see that you got a sack, you are terrible. No.
How do you feel that your experience in the NFL has prepared you to be an actor as well?
There's a lot of parallels. I mean, I think any professional, whether it be sports or any kind of profession, the parallels are, you know, hard work, obviously, determination, mental toughness, you know, time management, all those things. But I think the most important thing and lesson that I learned from the NFL was just that you have to want to do, and this sounds funny, you have to want to do the thing you're doing. It has to be about the art and the product and the project and not about you or what you want to be. So a coach once told me, do you enjoy being a football player or do you enjoy playing football? And I think that's the same thing as when it comes to acting. I think, do you enjoy acting or do you just want to be an actor and like wear a beanie in the summer and, you know, look brooding? You know what I mean? So it's one of those things that I always ask myself constantly, and making sure that I'm doing this for the right reasons and making sure I know what my why is.
That is a really good point. I've never heard it phrased that way, but
yeah,
that is
it kind of puts in perspective.
Yeah,
right? You know,
that's a great way to look at it.
Are you doing it for the show, or are you doing it because you actually love doing that? You know.
And another one of your loves too is creating on all elements:
yes,
writing, producing. Sure. You've also done a lot of things on YouTube and Funny or Die, kind of creating things.
Right.
So do you feel that having that creator background and having the behind the scenes background helps you as well with your performance?
Yeah. I mean, it's funny, you know, once you start editing your own projects and you know, when you're doing it on a smaller scale and you have to edit yourself and you gotta direct a little and you're trying to produce this thing, this project or whatever it is, once you've you've done every job essentially, you know, you've held the camera once, you've done this and that, I think you begin to appreciate the bigger and larger scope of doing a TV show and doing a movie and you see everything that goes into that, and it helps you as an actor because you know what each person needs. I know that as an editor, like if I'm doing a scene, I got to make sure that everything kind of lines up the same. So when they edit and cut pieces together, it matches up. I can't, you know, be like this while I'm talking one time and then doing something else. And I think that little things like that make a huge difference in their jobs and kind of makes the project overall just run smoother and kind of save time and money and all that. So I think doing those things really helped me become a more efficient actor.
Well, clearly it's appreciated since everyone from Raven's Home was like, family reunion, put them in.
Right, exactly.
So since you are going into this year with so many accomplishments already under your belt, what are some of your goals for this year that you would like to accomplish going into 2021?
Well, I mean, naturally, I think the best for the show, I think Family Reunion, we'd love to continue to grow, continue to get people to watch the show, love the show, really dig in as an important part of pop culture. That's one. And for me, just personally, producing. You know, I want to create a project. A goal this year for me is to sell a show or two, to come on as a producer on those shows. and to kind of build in that way and build my production company and really get that going. So I think those are things that I naturally want to grow in. And of course, acting wise, I want to do so many things, you know, dramatic and really serious things in movies. So I think the overall thing is just take flight, you know, just continue to grow and continue to kind of dive in and sell out into the idea of being as the best actor I can be.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you so much for coming in and talking with us.
I appreciate it.
You are phenomenal. Where can everybody keep up with you and all of your projects?
Oh my gosh. So I'm so stubborn about social media, but I have Instagram. So at Anthony Alabi Official. At Anthony Alabi Official on Instagram. And you can catch all of our shows that I produce, Strollers and Metasuck, and all those will be on there too. And then Netflix. Just turn it on. I'll be there.
And on all over the place.
Yes,
Showtime, everywhere.
ABC,
HBO,
Blackish,
if you're going through Insecure, The Mick, everything. Seeing this man all over
just
the place.
Just turn your TV on. It's fine. It's fine. I'll be there. I'm trying. No.
And be sure to check out all of our celebrity interviews at MEA Worldwide. That's MEAWW.com. Until next time, I'm Elena Jordan. Have a good day.